Kelley Burgess.
That's me.
Tell me who you are.
Well, I guess I'm a Yankee refugee from the Northeast, and I survived growing up in New Jersey, as my mom would say, because she was from Virginia. So Southern parents and a Yankee upbringing. And then I've been here for 30 years. I love Texas. We chose to move here 4 years ago because I wanted to live among conservatives. And I'm not saying right wing or anything like that. I'm just saying I really, you have to understand, when you live in the Northeast, being a Christian is kind of a tradition. You're either Catholic or Jewish or whatever. But here you can really live your faith. And if you've never lived outside of Texas, I don't know if you know how wonderful that is. So to be able to really live my faith for the last 30 years, the last 25 years of my marriage has been a gift to me, and it has changed who I am. Someone asked me was I Republican or Democrat? And everybody was arguing as to whether or not I should answer the question. I said, I'll answer the question. I'm registered as a Republican. I tend to lean libertarian because I truly believe, as Dennis Prager says, the bigger the government, the smaller the citizen. Okay, so in a small town, we don't need layers upon layers upon layers of ordinances and governances and things like that. We need to see face to face who our leaders are, know who they are, what they're about, and do we trust them? Because they do represent us. They represent me. And so do I feel that I've been heard by the council? Absolutely not. I have not just been pushed aside, I've been sued. They have tried to shut me down.
Why are you getting so far ahead of me? I haven't even answered a question.
I'm not sure when we're supposed to pause. So, fine. All right, what's your next question? I'm a mother. I'm going to be the mother of I'm going to be a very proud mother of a Marine when he graduates from high school. I'm very honored that my son is wanting to, on his own, all his life to serve his country.
Well, get ready, because when he gets back from boot camp, he's going to be a totally different man. He's not going to be your little boy anymore.
I know.
He's going to be a man that you're going to be like, who is this?
I know. He already does PT with them on Thursdays. He comes back and he's doing all, yeah. So I'm very proud of my son. If you know Jackson Burgess, you know him, but he's just a kid, and he's going to grow up to be an amazing American patriot.
Well, I want to get to this answer number 2, or question number 2. I want to get to this question number 2. What inspired you to run for city council?
Well, I didn't really know anything about how a city runs. Nothing. I came to the Cinco de Mayo and was very impressed. It was festive. I love intercultural mingling. I love meeting other people's cultures. I consider it an honor when somebody shares with me what their faith is, be it Christian, Mormon, Jewish, whatever. If you're Hispanic and you want to show your pride, let's see it. Let me taste your empanadas, as long as they're not too spicy, because I am a Yankee. So, I want to see the different people in this town and what they celebrate. And that's important to me. So I came to that. My son was given a scholarship along with several other children by a very generous donator of funds for, they had to write an essay of what they wanted to do. And he wants to raise money to shoot in the tournaments at the school. And
that was actually Nathan and Shannon Brown.
I think it was Nathan and Shannon Brown. The wonderful people who bought the bank. They are an amazing force in this town. If you don't know Nathan and Shannon Brown, they are good-hearted, Christian, down-to-earth people, and they're amazing. So they gave out these scholarships. They were going to just do one, and then they're like, no, I think we'll do 6. So very generous people. And I've been to
I'm gonna reel you back in.
Okay.
I'm gonna reel you back in.
I love that.
So why are you running for city council?
Why am I running for city council? Because when I saw all the things that I loved about Pilot Point, I started going to council meetings, and something wasn't right. I used to be a paralegal, so I kind of have a nose for conflicts of interest and relationships. I'm very good at reading body language. And in that very first meeting I went to, I was very concerned about, if you look at who's on the council and you look at who's the director of the Chamber of Commerce, it reads like a crime board. You could put strings between the people who are married, and some people are just the same person in both pictures. It's a lot of inbreeding small-mindedness, and I just can't do that. So, and if you ask questions about it, you'll be shamed. You'll be shunned. Okay, so you're not allowed, there is no open-heartedness. So I ran for council because I want to change all that. I want to be transparent in my decisions. I want to be transparent and represent the voices of the people who will not speak up right now because they're concerned about retaliation from certain people, and that just can't happen.
So you touched on it a little bit. How does your personal and professional experience help you in this role that you're vying for?
Well, I think you want your city council to be a myriad of different types of people. A teacher, a doctor, a landscaper, a person who's an engineer. You're going to bring all different types of personalities together so that they can all intellectually and intelligently stimulate each other to come up with reasonable answers to problems. Some of the issues that we come across, like developments and contracts and things, are quite complex. And I've seen some of the questions that have been posted and that require a great deal of discussion, a great deal of preparation and reading. And so I feel that the more people, different types of people you have that are involved, the better the more points of view you have to draw from. And right now I feel like we're talking to 6 of the same person.
What's the role of a city council person on a dais like Pilot Points?
Well, I look at it like responsibilities. As council, we need to learn to negotiate and get along and represent the ideas of the people. That's obvious. I also feel like we have to teach and educate those. Like Dave Ramsey says, have the heart of a teacher. I think that's important that we educate people in our town as to how things work. The city manager works for the dais, and the dais is over the city manager's over the police chief and that sort of thing. They should understand some structure, who answers to whom. None of this should be a secret. So education is important, and listening is important, and also throwing around ideas and disagreeing. I'm a huge fan of Mayor Beasley, huge fan and a personal friend. That does not mean I will not disagree with her, and she knows it. So I think that's the kind of person that she wants on the dais, people who are going to bring intelligent ideas and intelligent minds. And really, we're not experts on anything. We're there to listen and to learn and to make the best representation and decision together that we can for the people that we represent.
A lot of people, that's when I was running for city council, a lot of people here in town think that you have to have a pedigree to be a city councilman. Yeah. I want to shed light that anyone that cares about their town, that cares about their neighbor, can be on this dais.
Absolutely.
I want to invite people to run for city council. I don't think the city council should stay the same for decades. I want caring, passionate citizens to run for these seats. And it's just between you, Brian, Steve, Elisa, you're putting out an idea that I can do it. And I really appreciate that. And I think you're gonna energize people to come out and speak and be a part of this system.
You can hear the construction.
All right. So obviously, development is all around us.
Yes, it is.
So I was going to ask a development question because it's so, you can still hear the beeps of the tractors. But no, let's move on. Okay. In your view, what are the 3 challenges that face our community, and how do you plan on to address them?
All right, let's talk about challenges. I would like to think about that for a second.
Okay.
Well, obviously, having worked in Aubrey for the last 3 years, I've seen what Aubrey has gone through with, nobody knows growth faster than a teacher when they get 2 new kids a day. So I see what's coming. I've also come from Denton 4 years ago, where I've seen what can be. I'm not sure I want to be Denton. I want to be Pilot Point. We are Horse and Lake, and I want to preserve as much as we can. I also love this absolutely gorgeous square, and I want to preserve the history of that too. There are a lot of people who love this town and have loved it much longer than I've ever even been here, 30, 40, 50 years. And I honor those people, but I can't just give in to them. So I have to try to find a marriage between what we can preserve and what we can develop that's new. We have Moberly Farms. Some of those people think they live in Salina. They're part of our city, and they don't even know that the 7 people across town are the ones who make the decisions about where their tax dollars go. I think they need to be educated. So back to your question about what should the city council do, part of our job is education. Part of our job is being a variety of people and having different points of view. I may not know much about easements and TxDOT and all that sort of thing. I can rely on my city manager, my attorney, and my colleagues, and also we bring in experts and we listen to them at the meetings. So anyone can be on city council if they care enough about their city.
I'm going to bring this back to the question.
Bring me back to the question.
So when you, with what you just said, so your first challenge that you see in Pilot Point is growth.
Growth is a big part of it. It's coming. It's here. The other big thing I see is lack of government that supports that growth. We don't have a government in place at this time that's open-minded enough, that communicates enough with each other and with the town to make sure that we get what's best for what's in Pilot Point.
I'm going to go on a little sidebar on this one. So speaking of that, my daughter is so appalled with city council from the past because we could have had Babe's Chicken in that building right there, right behind you. She is so mad at that city council because one of the city council members had a chicken store here, and they didn't want it to be here. At least that's what the story is. So my daughter's like, I can't stand that city council.
Pick one.
Yeah. Anyway, but is that the kind of stuff representing the people? Is that what you're trying to say?
It's more than representing the people. It's negotiating a peace between the people. You can't make everybody happy, so you try to preserve the most important things. You have to prioritize. And then you want developments to have relationships with them, and Elise is very good at that, and so we can have some influence, because a lot of people don't realize that the real estate laws have changed. I remember when Flower Mound was building up and they could put a moratorium on things. They could say how big the lots would be. Those days are gone. The pendulum has swung. We have to work with charm and relationships and get them to care, because actually the law is on their side. So I don't want to make sure that it doesn't take advantage of anyone in Pilot Point.
And what would be the third thing that you would want to tackle, and how would you fix it?
I want to revitalize the square, and I want everyone in town to use it. I want to celebrate everyone in this town. I want to celebrate, and I'm not trying to be culturally political. There's a lot of Hispanic people who live in this town who don't really say anything. They don't come to the meetings. Maybe they don't feel like they belong there. I think that's awful. They're not invisible to me. They're not invisible to the people that I'm running with or to Elisa. And what they have to say and their culture is very important. And I just don't think that we're tapping into all the cultures in our town.
And I love that you're touching on that. So I'm going to say a little something. I hear you. I hear you, because I don't think the Hispanic people have a voice. You know, Lisa's one person and she happens to be Hispanic. I think more people on city council need to be a voice for the Hispanic people. There's such a large percentage of this town, and there's no reason why they shouldn't have a seat at this table.
Absolutely. They're a huge part of who we are, and I'd like to see more of them.
Awesome. All right. We're gonna get through this.
What is that? Good Lord. Only in Pilot Point can you drive a lawnmower legally down the street.
But isn't that bring the quaintness?
It's charming.
It's the charming part of Pilot Point.
The first time I saw somebody driving by my house with a bunch of flags in a golf cart, I thought, hey, this is cool. Actually, can I tell you, this is probably not good for your camera, but when we were driving through Pilot Point and this area to try to figure out where we wanted to live, and we were looking for a more, we were trying to get away from Snowflake Denton, we wanted to be more conservative, and we saw a big old sign that said, Biden sucks. And we're like, we're home. Plant the flag right here.
You know, a lot of us that moved here, same thing. That was so we came to go look at the builder. The builder was pretty cool.
Your neighborhood is lovely.
Yeah. So our builder was different. They weren't super stupid price. So we came out and saw we're like, okay, it was from here or Sanger. We had our choice, from here or Sanger. Can you believe it, people? I could have moved to Sanger and I wouldn't have been the thorn in y'all's side as much as I've been. But I could have been either or. And so we went to the store, not Tiger Mart, but the store right there next to Betos. And no one had a mask on. And this was in 2019.
Yes, that was another thing. Nobody had a mask on.
I loved it, and I said, we're moving
sense.
here. Yep. So that's what brought me to this. Same like you, Biden sucks. We saw the Biden sucks things, and I actually moved out here hoping I'd see more of them.
We're running, it's right there.
So as of right now, we've been here for 20 hours because we can't get through these questions. So we're gonna move this on. Man, so I have a feeling I'm asking the wrong person, but how do you feel about City Council's decision to pursue you legally? I know you don't want to talk about it. And you know what? I love that about you. You're all about moving forward and bringing, actually fixing the problems of City Council and the city. And I love that. You want to leave this part of your history behind, but I can't let you do that. You need to tell me, you need to tell them, how do you feel about what happened to you? Why they thought it was a good thing to take you to court and sue you for exercising your First Amendment rights?
Okay, so you have a right to petition your government for grievances. That's in the Constitution. And I just filed a petition to recall a city council member, which is badly outlined in the charter. There could be some revisions in there. And I did the best I could to write that petition properly. It wasn't perfect. There were some technical issues, I confess to that, but they could have been easily solved and fixed. They weren't interested in resolving the issues. They were more interested in shutting it down. When Lynette Cox accepted the signatures and verified them, and the council accepted the petition, then they all voted as to whether or not they wanted to send it forward. They're like, no, we're not sending this forward. Well, why aren't you sending it to election? It says you shall send it to election. So they interpreted that shall conveniently to say no, which is fine, okay, because there's a provision in the charter that says if the council fails to send it to election, then there's a county judge, I think it says, can make that decision on their behalf. So all they needed was a professional opinion from an election judge, which I will say is hard to find. I had to find an attorney who specialized in elections, so that was very difficult as well. So I truly believe that when they sued me, which means that I was met with a process server with papers. I was given a summons to appear. That's not a choice. That means that if you don't appear, and first of all, you're going to want representation. It was in a court I was not familiar with. I did not know how to defend myself because it was the city of Pilot Point versus Kelley Burgess, the defendant. So there's no confusion as to what occurred. Outside counsel was hired by the city dais to do exactly that. So I was intentionally sued. In that lawsuit, it asked for relief from having to make the decision about a recall. It asked for me to pay all their attorney's fees, which I had no idea. And as an ex-paralegal, I know can go in the tens of thousands of dollars for their side. And then my side, I had to find an attorney, Tim Davis, who $600 an hour because he specializes. That's not an easy person to find. And so as a teacher, I can't afford to pay him his fees. So he worked on my case. He suggested we settle. I agreed because this got drawn out. The person who I filed the petition against had 7 days to say whatever she wanted to say. And she never said a single word in public in her defense. And there was a lot of drama and what have you.
So how do you feel? What? Not even feel. What is your stance on their stance?
Oh, well, I knew I was going to get my attorney's fees back because they violated my civil rights. At that point, it was a slam dunk. But I had to give up the recall to force them to pay my attorney. So I had to give up my right in order to get them to pay a bill I couldn't afford to pay, which I shouldn't have incurred in the first place. And let's not forget the people who signed the petition. They were completely ignored.
I want you to. I need more. Shed some light on what you did. Clerically wrong. It was a clerical error, right?
It was a clerical error.
So please tell me what this huge offense was that caused the city to pay tens of thousands of dollars?
Oh, yes, we FOIA'd that information, and we're probably in the $30,000, $25,000 range is what they've spent, and plus the $14,000 they had to pay to settle the case, which, by the way, I'd made a video on this. I settled that case because they may not care about the deep pockets of your tax dollars that can be spent, but I do. And I just said, we're done. This is it. If it means this much to them and they're going to kick and scream like toddlers, I'm going to let it go and I'm going to end this suit because we're not going to spend one more dime on this drama. And so I ended it.
Clerical error.
Clerical error. Okay, so what went wrong? In the petition, it requires that you have a reason. I had a couple of reasons in there backed up by some documentation. And then I didn't want to ask anyone to sign a petition that I myself did not actually sign. So I signed first in front of a notary. I did 4 originals because I didn't want anybody to see one that wasn't signed. And I had myself and 3 other people take those originals with attached sheets. It is very unclear how to do this recall in the charter. It was confusing because it says you can use multiple people to collect signatures. But underneath where I signed, and I signed that before they signed it, it says that I affirm that each person was signed before me. So I missed that. All I needed to do was take the signatures that person A collected and have them notarize that they actually saw them sign it, and person B's signatures, they could have notarized it, and everything would have been fine. But they went bananas because the date that I signed it was before anyone laid pencil to paper. And
did you mean to lie to the city?
Oh,
did you mean to mislead the city as the constituents of the city? Did you mean any malice towards them by that little clerical mistake?
Of course not. Why would I want to teach all day long and then get back in my car and go from living room to living room to living room by request of other people because they wanted to sign the recall? Why would I do that? It was a lot of work. And so I thought I was representing other people and doing a good thing. But no, absolutely, it was a mistake.
Well, Kelley, I really appreciate it. The sun is coming on us, and it's going to be getting to you. So I think I have one more question. Now I need to choose it. How do you plan on dealing with people that don't agree with you on that dais when you decide to put your heart down and explain something and choose something?
I have a very different viewpoint on conflict. I come from the Northeast where most people are either Greek, Jewish, or Italian, and we fight it out at the dinner table. It may sound like we're going to kill each other, but at the end of the day, we love each other, and we're in each other's business because we care. Okay? So I have no problem with someone disagreeing with me. In fact, I value everyone's viewpoint because there's things I don't know. And so, for example, I'll give you a literal example. I offended a student one day, and she came to me and told me she was really upset about something I said, and I thanked her. She thought I was going to yell at her, and I said, thank you so much for giving me that gift, because now I can apologize to you and explain to you where I'm coming from, and now I understand you better. So to me, conflict is a criticism of the behavior, and it's a gift. I don't have a problem with anybody coming at anything I do or say. I don't take it if you can't hurt my feelings with a hammer.
Well, Kelley, it has been great talking to you. But
Thank you so much, Aaron.
The very next thing I need from you is tell me, why do I need to vote for you?
Why do you need to vote for me? Because you care about your town as much as I do, and as much as my friends, Stephen Berkelback and Brian Ingram do. I call them friends, but we really don't know each other that well. We just believe in the same things. We have the same vision of a united Pilot Point. And we want to get in there and get the things that you want. We have to hear from you.
I would love, I think that was awesome. That was the shortest answer you gave today. And you should have gone on.
I'm sorry. It's because I'm out of water.
Okay, so I love that. I wanted you to expand on that. But hey, if that's where you want to leave it, we can leave it there.
Ask me another question.
Well, I just want to know why I should vote for you, and I love that you brought in the team. I think
you should vote for me because I hate bullies.
Hold on 1 second. I want you to answer that question, but Stephen, get over there.
Come here.
Because this is not just you. This is not just Brian. This is not just Stephen. This is Pilot Point.
Okay, so Brian couldn't be here today because he's a fireman. and he's kind of busy. But we had a little time today, and Aaron's kind enough to put together this interview. It's extremely important we represent, I guess, the little guy for a cliche. We hate bullies.
We want to be the muscle for the citizens of Powder Point.
Absolutely. We want to represent the little guy. I looked at the city council one day and I said, listen, there are people who can speak for themselves and there are people who don't want to say anything. But there are people who are afraid to talk. Those are the ones I want to speak for. Okay?
What I found out is I found out too late that the citizens didn't have a voice, and I don't want to sit around because things don't affect you right now. We've got to get it in line where the citizens have a voice before you need a voice, but as I did, because once I found out I needed a voice, it was too late at that point, and so we're here to be the muscle for the citizens that need a voice.
And as things grow, we want to set up a better system so that we can, going forward, councils in the future, going forward as this town is bigger, 10, 15 years down the line, we want to set up a place where things run more smoothly and with more fairness.
More efficiently.
Mm-hmm. I zoomed out a little bit so it doesn't look like we're so close together.
Yeah, I was.
Well, I appreciate both of you coming out here. Brian, I'm coming after you. Oh,
yeah.
You can't hear me. So thank you for coming out today. I really appreciate it. I think the voters are going to really, really appreciate this because it's going to give them a chance to get to know you. And you know what? Thank you. I cannot wait to get Brian out here because I think you're going to make a hell of a team. Team Citizen. I cannot wait for it. Can't wait to see what you do with this city. And please, Pilot Point, get out and vote. It's up to you.
Absolutely.
If you're not registered, get out to register, vote, and then go vote.
By April 3rd.
April 3rd. Early voting in April, yeah.